Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making number 210 granny square of our 365 days of granny squares. This one is called Vertigo Illusion Square, and it is an interesting spiral design. The written pattern is by Donna over at smoothfoxlover.blogspot.com. Make sure you check out the written pattern for this project because I omitted the last round, but you can go on to following along with that pattern and making your extra round. But my square turned out to be about 6 inches, which is about 15 centimeters across. So I think I just was happy with that where I ended. So you can go on to making yours bigger or smaller. You could omit this last round here even if you wanted to. But this is such a really cool design, and it just makes a really interesting illusion spiral. Yeah, special effects here. Woo! Okay, so the supplies we need today are just a 5mm crochet hook, which is an H size hook. So make sure you have that handy. That's what I'll be demonstrating in. You could use an I size hook. If your stitches turn out to be a little tighter, I would recommend using an I hook. And then also a scissors and a yarn needle, because these tools come in handy when we cut our yarn, sew in our ends, especially when we change color for this spiral design. So those come in handy there. Also, the yarn I'm using are 2 different colors. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver yarn, so I'm using just yellow, and then this color is called Flamingo in Red Heart Super Saver. It's one of the new colors, I guess. I don't know, I really like it, and I just found it at the store. So this is just a scrap yarn project, though. You don't need a whole lot of yarn for this square, so I don't have exact yardage, but it's not that much, so I'm just using scraps there. Also, before we start, I do want to mention there are links in the description of this video. So like I said, there was a link to Donna's written pattern, so you can follow along and make this Vertigo Illusion Square. Also, there's a link to YARNutopia.com where you'll get all 365 days of granny squares and all the projects. And if you want to follow along with this project, you can go to that page, get all the information you need. You can click the photo thumbnail in there, and it will take you to its video tutorial of that photo. And then at the bottom of the blog, there's a link, or there's a list of all the links to the written patterns for all the designers that are participating in this big project. So thank you to everybody who is participating. Your squares are fabulous. And then also, there's a link to my Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you're following me on both platforms, and then also share your photos. Make sure to find today's square, so find this square on Facebook, and in the comments section, share a photo of your square and your color combination, and tell me what you liked about this square, or what you did differently, and your optical illusion, vertigo illusion type of thing. And then also on Instagram, make sure to hashtag 365 days of granny squares and hashtag YARNutopia so I can see your square as well. Before you get dizzy, I do want to say a big thank you to my dad, Fuad, Azmat, for taking the time to make these videos and be super silly with his special effects. So make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can get the update on when we post our next video. So let's stop getting dizzy here and let's start making number 210 granny square. Let's start out by making a slip knot. So put your short end over your long end, then fold that down and pull that through and pull tight. Insert your hook and we can start. So let's start off by chaining 4. So yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and 4. And then we're going to come all the way to the beginning here, to this chain right here. We're going to go in and make a slip stitch. So go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through that loop on your hook. So we've just created a ring. Now if you know how to start with a magic ring, you can start this pattern that way as well. But starting out for round number 1, we are going to chain up 1, so yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to put a single crochet into this ring. So go in, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay? In this round, you kind of want to crochet a little looser than normal. And also I'm going to pull this loop up and remove my hook because I am going to mark this first stitch here. So what I'm going to do is grab this hook and go into that single crochet and then pull a new different color piece of yarn through and then kind of tie that in a knot so that that is marked. If you have, you know, legit stitch markers, you can obviously do that, but I just have an extra piece of yarn, different color, and I'm going to mark my first stitch. Okay, now we are going to continue working into this ring, and we are going to put, we're going to actually chain one first, so yarn over, pull through, chain one. Then we're going to put a half double crochet into the ring, so yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Okay, that's a half double crochet. Then we're going to chain one, and we're going to half double crochet again into the ring here. So yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then we're going to chain one, and now we are going to double crochet and chain one into the ring 8 times. Okay, so yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that's a double crochet. So now we're going to chain one. Okay, so that was 1, so we have to do this 7 more times. So yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a double crochet, and then chain 1. Okay, so that's 2, double crochet, chain 1, that's 3, double crochet, chain 1, that's 4, double crochet, chain 1, that's 5. You can kind of scoot these over a little bit so you can have more room. Double crochet, chain 1, that's 6, double crochet, chain 1, that's 7, and one more double crochet and chain 1, so that's 8. Okay, so this is what it should look like. You can see I'm marked my first stitch. We want to keep the stitch marker in until we finish round 4. So I'm just going to kind of move that over to the side here. Now we're going to work in a continuous round at this point. So we're going to go right into round number 2. So we're not doing any join, no slip stitching or anything. In the first stitch, we're going to, first off, we're going to work in the back loops only. Okay, so usually we work through both loops like this. Now, this is the front loop right here. And now this is the back loop here. So we're going to work in these back loops. This is a back loop. Okay, that's a chain 1. This is a back loop. There's our chain 1. And a back loop. Okay, so we're going to work in our back loops of our stitches here. Okay, so what we're going to do in this first single crochet that my stitch marker is obnoxiously taking up space in, we are going to work in there, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in there. So yarn over, go into the back loop only of this single crochet right here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, and we're going to go in again for another double crochet. Okay, just like that. So we just put 2 double crochets in the back loop of this first single crochet here. Then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip this chain 1 space right here, and then we're going to put 2 double crochet into this half double crochet right here. So yarn over, go into this half double crochet stitch. Oh, I'm sorry, back loop only. Almost messed up there. So back loop only, and put 2 double crochets in there. So 1 and 2, okay, of that half double crochet right there. Then we're going to chain 1, okay, skip this chain 1 space right here, and work 2 double crochets into the next stitch in the back loop only. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again, make another double crochet in there. Then chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, put 2 double crochets in the next stitch in the back loop only, and just repeat that all the way around until you come back to the beginning, and I'll meet you up and we'll go on to round 3. Okay, so when you finish this round, you can see here I have put 2 double crochets into my last double crochet here. Now there's this chain 1 here, so we have to chain 1. And now we're back to the beginning. So you can see our 2 double crochets into this first stitch right here. So we're going to go right into round number 3. And we're going to, again, work in the back loops only of these stitches. Okay, so we're going to, this is the front loop. Okay, front loop. We're going to work in the back loop right here. Back loop. Okay, so we're going to work in the stitches here. And we're going to continue our spiral. So we're going to go on to round 3 here. It says to put 2 double crochets in the first double crochet right here. So yarn over, go into this first one. Okay, put in the back loop only, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in there. So 1 and 2. Okay, just like that. In the very next double crochet right here, we're going to put 1 double crochet. So yarn over, go into the back loop of this next one, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip over this chain 1 space and repeat what we did. So we're going to put 2 double crochets in the back loop only of the next stitch. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet in the back loop of the next stitch. And just a reminder, make sure you're crocheting a little bit loosely on this so that this does lay flat. Okay, so then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to skip over this chain 1 space and put 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, back loops only, then chain 1, skip over the chain 1 space, and repeat. So just do that all the way around, and then when I'm finishing this round, I'll show you, because we're going to then finish off the spiral and start making our square. Okay, if you haven't marked your stitches, you can tell where we're at when we're back to the beginning to see where your stitch marker is, or if you see there's 2 double crochet here, but there's 3 double crochets here, this is back to the beginning. So these are our first stitches right here. Okay, so I just have 1 more grouping left, so I need to put, I did the chain 1 here, and then we need to put 2 double crochet in this next double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into this next double crochet, and then chain 1. Now we're back to the beginning, and what we're going to do is actually finish off our spiral, and then we're going to change color and work in these front loops that we skipped. So to do that, we're going to skip over this chain 1 space, and we're going to put 2 half double crochets in this first stitch here. So yarn over, working in the back loop still, we're going to go into the back loop of this first stitch, then yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Okay, and again yarn over, go back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then in the next 2 stitches right here, we're going to put a single crochet in each one of those. So go into the back loop here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And the next stitch, go into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now in this chain 1 space right here, we're going to slip stitch in there. So we're actually just going to go into the chain 1 space, then yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And now I'm not going to pull it too tight, but I am going to fasten off. So I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to cut this yarn, I'm going to pull it all the way through and pull it kind of tight now. I'm going to go into that slip stitch though, okay, that I just finished off in. I'm going to go in with my hook, and I'm going to grab another piece of yarn that's a different color here. Okay, so just pulling that through there, and then I'm going to mark this stitch by tying this knot. You could use a legit stitch marker here if you wanted to, but I'm just going to mark this stitch so I know that that's my last stitch. So now you want to look at your piece like this, and you want to make sure that it lays flat, okay? If yours is really bowling up like this, then you've crocheted too tight and you will need to start over and crochet a little looser or use a larger hook. But for the most part, if it's laying pretty flat, you should be happy with that, and we can go on to the next round of making our spiral in a different color. So I have yellow here, and I'm going to turn this around, so you want to make sure that where we fastened off, where our last slip stitch is in that chain 1 space, is at the very bottom, okay? And we are going to go into the stitch to the right of it, right here, okay? And we're going to go in from the back of it, okay, just like this. And I'm going to hook on my new color. You can use a new color or same color, but a new color makes it look really poppin' and cool. So hook that on and pull that through, just like that. And now, in this next round, we are going to work on these stitches up here, and we're going to work in the spiral all the way around to the center, okay? So what we're going to first do, let me get this all situated here, get these stitches out of the way. We are going to work in the back loops of this round, and then we're going to be working in the front, or I'm sorry, no. We're going to work in the front loops of everything. It says working in the front loops of all the stitches. We're going to make this spiral, okay? So we're going to go into this slip stitch here. You know, if you didn't want to mark that, you didn't really have to, but just to mark that first stitch there. Okay, so you can see our slip stitch right here. We're going to go into the front loop of it. Okay, so usually we work through both loops like this. This would be considered the back loop, and this one's going to be considered the front loop. Okay, so we're going to work through the front loops of all the stitches and the chain 1 spaces. See this chain 1 space here? We're going to work through the front loop of that right there. Okay, in the front loop of these. And how we're going to do that, so I hooked on my yarn here, okay, to the right of where we slip stitched. Then we're going to go into the slip stitch right here in the front loop of that, then yarn over and pull through and through the loop on your hook. But the thing is, we're going to crochet this really loosely. Okay, so we're just going to slip stitch around very loosely, not tight at all. So just go into the front loop of the next stitch, go from the bottom up, then yarn over, pull that through, and pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, go from the bottom, yarn over, pull through, and through the loop on your hook. Okay, from underneath, yarn over, pull through, and through. Okay, and you can manipulate your work however you need to get these in there, kind of turning this backwards to kind of get this round. But then once we get closer to the center, we might need to fold this down or kind of manipulate it so that we can see the stitches. But you can see I'm just working this like this, going from the bottom, okay, in that front loop, then yarning over, pulling through, and through. So it might get a little awkward at times, but you'll be able to slip stitch all the way around loosely to make this interesting pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to slip stitch in each stitch in these front loops, okay, just like that, all the way until I hit the center, and we'll see, I'll meet you up at that point, but make sure that I'll meet you up when I get all the way around this round, because then I'll show you how to get from here over around here, okay? So just continue doing this outside round, slip stitching, and then I'll meet you up when I get to that beginning point. Alright, so I'm just coming back to the beginning here. Now, you can see this is the stitch that we attached our yarn to. We're going to still work in that front loop of that stitch, so yarn over, pull through and through. Now, we are going to work into, I don't know if you can see here, but the chain 1 space that we worked our last slip stitch into, I'm going to kind of move that slip stitch over, and I'm going to work into that front loop in that chain 1 space. Okay, right there. Okay, and I'm going to make a slip stitch in there. Then we're going to work in these front loops that we skipped all along here until we hit the center of this spiral. Okay, so I'm going to, you can kind of fold this back so you can see these loops. We're going to go in, yarn over, pull through, and through. Into the next one, yarn over, pull through, and through. Okay, and just continue working these slip stitches all the way around until we hit the center where we have that marked stitch in the center of this circle. So I'm going to meet you up at that point, and then I'll show you how to fasten off this color, and then we'll start making the square. Alright, so I'm just finishing up here, and I'm at the center. So now we are going to, once I get to my stitch marker, I can show you exactly what to do and how to fasten this off. So make sure that you're getting all the stitches and all these little loops here. Okay, and my second to last one is here. And now my last one is this marked stitch. So we want to take off this stitch marker here, and we want to go into this marked stitch right here. Okay, and then slip stitch in there. Okay, and now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to cut this yarn kind of long. Okay. And we're going to pull that all the way through, but don't pull too tightly. Okay, just a little bit. Then we're going to take that long strand that we cut, we're going to sew our yarn our needle with that. We're going to go into the center of our square, or our circle here, I guess it's part of our square, and we're going to go in to there. Okay, and then that chain 2 that we just made, will come down into that. Just like that. Okay? And then we can sew in this end. I'm going to just go underneath some of these stitches. And make a knot. Okay? Make sure that it is nice in the top here. Make sure you lay this flat. Make sure that it is nice and flat. It looks good all the way around. And then we can sew in that end later. Okay, so now you have a cute little spiral. This actually is a cute motif for something, blanket or different square or something like that. So you can fasten off here and have a nice little spiral. Or you can follow along and continue on making this into a square. So now this next round, you can start in any stitch on this round, and what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start with this down here, this spiral part, this end part here at the bottom, and we can start in any back loop. If you fold this forward, you can see here, there are these back loops in my color, this pinkish color, these back loops. We're going to work into these back loops. So I'm just going to start right here in this random stitch, and I'm going to pick up my pink color. And I'm going to pull that through just like that. Then we're going to chain up 4. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is going to count as our first treble crochet of this round. And in the same stitch that we just attached to, we're going to make a treble crochet. So yarn over twice, go back into that same stitch that we just attached our yarn to, and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that is a treble crochet. So that's in the same stitch that we just attached this yarn to. So now it looks like there's actually 2 treble crochets in that stitch. So now in the next stitch we are going to put a treble crochet. So we kind of move these forward so you can kind of see that stitch. Yarn over twice, go into this next stitch, back loop that's free, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So there's another treble, okay, in the next stitch there. Then we're going to double crochet in the next 8 stitches. Okay, so you know how to double crochet. Just yarn over once, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So that's 1, next stitch here, 2, next stitch, 3, there we go. Okay, you might need to fold these forward so you can kind of see your stitches back here. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we're going to treble crochet into the next stitch, so yarn over twice, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Then the next stitch, so the next 2 stitches now are going to be our corner. So we're going to put 2 treble crochet in the next stitch, so right here, if I can see it, there we go, right here, make a treble, 2 trebles actually, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. And then for the corner, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put 2 treble crochets into the next stitch, and that is our corner. Okay, just like that. Okay, then we're going to put a treble crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to put a double crochet in the next 8 stitches. So remember, double crochet is just yarn over once. Go into the stitches that are the back loops only here. 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5 is here, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, clearly it's a little bit difficult to find the stitches, but once you get them, it's gonna look good. Look at how cool that looks so far. So now we have to make our next corner, so we're going to put one treble crochet into the next stitch. Okay, then 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. 1 and 2. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. Okay, so you can see here, 1 and 2. Okay, now let me see here. I'm going to go into this stitch right here for a treble crochet. Then the next 8 stitches get a double crochet, and just repeat that all the way around. I have just one more corner to do, and then I'll meet you up when I'm finishing this round. If you need to follow along with the written pattern, there are photos in there and everything. Otherwise, rewind this to show this side so you know exactly what to do. Otherwise, I will meet you up at the end of this round. Alright, when you get to the last stitch here, we have to put 2 treble crochets in there. Let me see here. Yep, 2 trebles. Okay. I noticed though I was off by a couple stitches, so I ended up putting 2 double crochets in a couple of stitches on the sides. So if you need to do that, no big deal. But I did that same thing. So you can see over here I put 2 double crochets on the side. So if you need to, just so you have the right amount of stitches, but it should turn out square, just make sure you chain 3 when you're finished, and then slip stitch to the beginning, chain up 4 right at the top here. Just insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through. And now you can decide if you want to change color or not. I'm not going to change color, so I'm just going to go on to the next round. I'm actually going to start. You can, if you're changing color, start in a corner. Otherwise, if you're not changing color, just follow along here. I'm going to go back into this chain space, okay, kind of twisting my yarn around. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through and through. Okay, so now I'm back into the chain space, and I'm going to chain up 3. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, and 3. Now in the same space, I'm going to put 2 double crochets. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again another double crochet. Then I'm going to skip over this first stitch, this first treble crochet here, and I'm going to double crochet into the next 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then we're going to skip this last stitch on this side, and in this corner here we're going to put 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 more double crochets in the same space, in the same corner space here. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're just going to repeat that around. So skip this next stitch, this first treble crochet here, and then double crochet into the next 12 stitches, skipping the last stitch on this side. And then in the corners, we're putting 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. And again, we're working in, both loops here at this point. So going in just like a regular stitch in both of the loops, front and back, and just making regular double crochets on this round. So I'll meet you up at the end of round 6. Okay, when you're finishing this round, we still have to finish our beginning corner here, so skip that last stitch and put 3 double crochets into this beginning corner, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch to the beginning. So just go up to that chain up 3 there, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through. At this point, I am going to fasten off. My square is 6 inches, so I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. Whoops. There we go, and pull that all the way through, pull tight, and sew in my end. Now, there is another round in the written pattern that is just a repeat of this round 6 here. It's called 6A. So you can go read the written pattern. It's exactly like this last round, so you can repeat the last round if you want to. But I'm just going to sew in this end. Just like that, and when you are finished, make sure to sew in all your ends, make sure that everything is nice and clean, so you don't have to do it at the very end of whatever big project you're making. So just cut off any extra, stretch it out, and there you have it. Number 210 Granny Square is complete. It's beautiful. Thank you so much to Donna for allowing us to use this pattern in our big project for the 365 Days of Granny Squares. Make sure you check out that link to her pattern and her website, and then also check out the other links to the 365 Days of Granny Squares. Share your photos. What color spiral are you coming up with today? And did you do anything different? Maybe you added another round, did a single crochet round, or made this bigger, or whatever. So let me know what you did today for this spiral. It's so much fun, and I think we have another spiral actually a while ago, so that'd be kind of cool to use this spiral and that other spiral kind of together and maybe a blanket or a scarf or something cool. So check that other spiral out and share your photos, and thanks so much for watching. Happy hooking!